Calorie counting can be a deceptively tricky process that almost seems too simple to screw up. Just track what you eat and make sure it comes out to fewer calories than what you're burning. But unfortunately, there are aspects of calorie counting that some people seem to miss, leading to the diet not working at all, or at least not working like it should, and then that can lead some people to believe that calories in versus calories out just can't possibly be true. Well, today we're going to break down the most common mistakes people make when tracking their calories so that they can finally break through any weight loss plateau that they might be stuck in. And I do want to say that counting calories will never be perfectly accurate. It's honestly kind of just an educated guess. But by tracking your calories, you will teach yourself the caloric density of the foods that you're eating, which can get you close to the proper calorie intake to start losing weight. But you will never actually know the amount of calories that you are eating or that you're burning. So to jump into it, mistake number 1 is underreporting the number of calories that you're eating. And this can be seen in one study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition that looked at the magnitude at which people tend to underreport their calories and found that the participants in the study, on average, were underreporting their intake by approximately 30%. To put into perspective just how many calories that is, someone that reports eating 1,500 calories per day could actually be eating 1,950 calories if that 30% underreporting value holds true. And this underreporting issue can happen for a lot of reasons, but the most common comes in the method people are using to measure their food. While some foods will give a number of that item that they can eat per serving, or a volume measurement such as a cup or a tablespoon, the most accurate way to track calorie intake will always be in the weight measurement, because something might say you can eat, say, 10 of them, but the size and weight of each of those will likely differ, making it impossible to know what's actually a serving without weighing it out. And the same is true for certain high-calorie foods that people tend to just not track at all, like oils that they use when cooking or small snacks that they might eat that they think they just don't need to track if they only have a little bit of them. But that oil that you're cooking with that you aren't counting in your calories could be as high as 120 calories per tablespoon that you aren't factoring into your intake. And now moving on to mistake number 2, which is that you just don't burn as many calories as you think you do. So maybe you are tracking your calories correctly and are hitting a number that in theory would make you lose a pound or 2 a week. But just because you have the calories inside of the equation correct does not mean that you have the calories outside of the equation correct. Unfortunately, there's no way to know exactly how many calories you burn in a day, but you can generally get a fairly accurate guess with either a total daily energy expenditure calculator or an equation like the Harris-Benedict for estimated energy expenditure. But nothing is perfect, and anything that estimates your energy expenditure will require you to give an activity level, which is commonly overestimated when making these calculations, leading to less calorie burn than most people think. Which leads us to another concept known as metabolic adaptation, which is essentially where being in a sustained energy deficit will decrease your metabolism, slowing down your weight loss efforts. This review of metabolic adaptation from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research references adaptive thermogenesis, changes in mitochondrial efficiency, and alterations in hormone levels as the primary driver of this reduced energy expenditure, with large and more prolonged calorie deficits resulting in stronger metabolic adaptations. But while metabolic adaptation on its surface makes it feel like weight loss would then just be completely impossible, I do really want to emphasize that the amount of calories fewer that you're going to burn is going to be fairly small. It might slow down your weight loss a little bit, but it's not going to completely stop a well-structured diet plan. And the last mistake I want to talk about, mistake number 3, is that you're doing all the right things for most of the week and then screwing it up with cheat days. And this one is easiest to understand if you just break it into numbers, so I'm going to give you an example. Let's say someone accurately calculates that they burn 2,000 calories per day. And so in an attempt to lose 1 pound a week, they set their calorie allowance to 1,500 calories per day, since that's a 500 calorie deficit per day, which is a 3,500 calorie deficit per week, and we know that about 3,500 calories equates to 1 pound of fat. Now let's say that same person follows their diet exactly for 6 days per week, but then on day 7 decides they deserve a cheat day and eats 4,000 calories from junk food or whatever it is they want to eat. Then they repeat this process over the course of a month. While they might have been perfect for 6 days a week, leading to a 3,000 net calorie deficit during those days, That last day, they were in a 2,000 calorie surplus, leading to a net deficit of only 1,000 calories per week. And in this scenario, it would take almost an entire month to lose just a pound of fat, which would be discouraging if you're being really good for 6 days of every week. And the whole point of that's not to say that you should never have cheat days, because it's really not a big deal if you do. I just think that you need to remember that if you do have cheat days, the calories do still count. And so one good strategy, at least for me, is that if you're having a cheat day, instead of just eating whatever you want, raise your calories back to your maintenance level. That way you're not undoing any of the calorie deficit that you've created throughout the week. And if you do want to go over your maintenance calories every once in a while, that's fine too, just as long as it's not a super regular occurrence. But as you can see, there are quite a few things that can really throw off calorie counting, which isn't a reason not to do it, but more so just a reason to remember that if it's not working the way you're hoping it will right away, don't get discouraged, because it does take time, it takes practice, and it's a skill that you will get better at over time. So if calorie counting is your diet method of choice, just remember to keep these things in mind. But I hope this video was helpful. If it was, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the other content I put out. Give the video a like and leave a comment if you have any questions about anything. Otherwise, I will see you next time.